The flashing red and blue lights painted the quiet street in chaos. Sirens wailed, echoing through the pristine, rule-bound neighborhood. Paramedics rushed out of their ambulance, gurney ready, their faces set with urgency. But before they could reach my front door, they were stopped. Not by time, not by a locked gate, but by a woman in a blazer holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Stop!" she barked, her voice cutting through the night like a blade. "This is private property. You can't enter without board approval." That was the moment everything changed. My mother's life was slipping away inside that house, and the HOA board president decided paperwork mattered more than a human life. I moved into the Maple Creek community 5 years ago, right after my father passed. My mom and I wanted a quiet, safe place to rebuild. The neighborhood looked like a picture-perfect postcard: green lawns, matching mailboxes, and smiling neighbors waving as they walked their dogs. But beneath the polished surface, the homeowners association ruled like a small kingdom, with its board enforcing every rule to the letter. At first it was little things: warning letters if our grass grew too long, a fine when I painted the front door a slightly different shade of beige. Mom used to laugh it off. "Rules are rules," she'd say softly, always trying to keep the peace. She was kind like that, gentle, patient, always willing to believe the best in people. But the president of the board, Sharon Whitmore, wasn't so forgiving. She loved power more than reason. And on the night that mattered most, she'd prove it in the worst way possible. It was just past midnight when I heard the thud. I raced downstairs to find my mom collapsed in the kitchen, one hand clutching her chest, her breath shallow and ragged. Panic hit me like a wave, but I forced my trembling hands to dial 911. The operator's calm voice guided me through CPR until the paramedics arrived in record time. I ran to the front door, heart pounding. I could hear their boots hitting the pavement. Then, nothing. No one was coming in. I looked out the window and saw them blocked at the gate by Sharon, clipboard in hand, face twisted with authority. "You need clearance," she was telling them. "No emergency vehicles are allowed past the gate without board approval." "She's having a heart attack," I screamed from the door. "Let them in." Sharon didn't flinch. "I'm sorry, but the HOA has strict policies. We've had too many disturbances in the past." Disturbances. As if my mother's life was a noise complaint. The paramedics begged, pleaded. They even offered to push the gurney on foot if needed. But she refused to lift the barrier. The minutes crawled by like hours, every second a blade twisting in my chest. By the time they finally forced their way through, Mom's pulse had weakened. They rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. She was gone. The days after the funeral were a blur. Our home felt hollow, the silence deafening. I replayed every moment in my head, asking myself what I could have done differently. But no amount of guilt could change the fact that Sharon's stubbornness had cost my mom her life. The community tried to move on. Neighbors left flowers at our door, but their whispers behind hedges were filled with excuses. She was just following the rules. She didn't mean for anyone to die. It's such a tragedy. But tragedy wasn't justice. I filed a complaint with the local authorities, though people told me I was wasting my time. HOAs always get away with things, they said. They have lawyers. But this time something was different. There had been recordings. A neighbor's security camera captured the entire scene. Sharon standing in front of the gate as paramedics begged to pass. The world saw it. The outrage grew like wildfire. News crews came. Protests followed. The HOA board tried to protect Sharon, but public pressure mounted until even they couldn't shield her. The prosecutor filed a manslaughter charge. For once, the law didn't bend to a rulebook. The trial was brutal. Sharon's lawyers argued she had no intention to harm anyone. But the prosecutor showed the video, minute by excruciating minute. The jury watched as my mother's last chance at survival ticked away behind a locked gate. When the verdict came, guilty, I didn't feel joy, just a quiet, aching relief. She got sentenced. The HOA board was dissolved, and a new law was passed in the state, making it illegal for HOAs to block emergency services under any circumstance. My mother's death wouldn't be in vain. A year later, I stood in front of the house with a "for sale" sign in the yard. The place was beautiful, but it didn't feel like home anymore. Home had been my mother's laughter, not the suffocating rules of people who cared more about power than humanity. Before I left, I placed her favorite flower, a white lily, on the doorstep. "You mattered," I whispered, even if they forgot. Final message. Rules are meant to protect people, not endanger them. A piece of paper should never outweigh a human life. One person's courage to speak up can turn a personal tragedy into change for countless others. And sometimes justice comes not with triumph, but with quiet strength.